Hello, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're doing our shaky cam interior review inside a 2019 GMC Denali. This is the Sierra 1500 pickup truck. It is all new for this year, so everything you're seeing is more or less brand new to the truck, I guess. Some of this will look familiar because GM did keep a few things, and of course, standardization across the board, so other GM models also have this stuff. But the GMC Sierra is a really cool new truck. If I get time, I'll get out and I'll show you the tailgate. That's what everybody likes to talk about. But I want to focus on the interior. Over here, here's your door handle and locks. Here's the seat memory settings. Down here is the windows and the mirrors. These do have power folding mirrors. You run those right there. Otherwise, it's pretty self-explanatory. That is the parking brake push button. It auto releases when you shift into gear. So if you shift into reverse or drive, it will automatically release that parking brake as soon as you let off the brake pedal. Up here you have your four-wheel drive controls. These have changed a little bit. So four-wheel auto, which is what I've left it in most of the time, works sort of like all-wheel drive. It engages four-wheel drive when it needs it, otherwise stays in rear-wheel drive for fuel economy. So pretty cool. And then 4 up, 4 low. So that's 4 high, 4 low. And over here is two-wheel drive. So you can force two-wheel drive, you can force four-wheel drives, and you can go to auto. This up here will change the drive modes. So you can go to sport, touring, etc., etc. Most of what that changes is steering wheel. I prefer sport just because the steering wheel has a little stiffer response, so it takes a little more effort to move it. I happen to like that in a pickup truck. I'll show you some more on the steering wheel later because I do have a couple of complaints. Also, this is the so you have sport, touring, you have some off-road, blah blah. It also changes the throttle response, things like that. There's the first of the vents. There's the defrost vent. Important that they're separate. Also important that a pickup truck have a grab handle for getting in. Although some of us are tall enough we don't need that, but some other people really need that sort of thing to climb in because they're, short. So we'll look at the steering wheel really quick. Over here is a washer wipers. It's also the signal turn stick. So this right here runs the automatic headlights. It's a button right on the end. You can just see my finger there. This dial, so you turn it up and down, that runs the windshield wipers. All right. This runs the washers. You push the button right there, and up and down for the turn signals. You may or may not. There you go. It's up there. So there you go. Now here's my first complaint. Because of where this is, which is fairly easy to turn, when you have the windshield wipers on, it is hard to get out of that first one, so it doesn't tend to happen when they're off. But when you get it up to on, and then you are on the steering wheel like this, and you push that turn signal, what are you doing? You're hitting that wiper. I noticed when it rained this week that I was changing the speed of the wipers pretty often, thanks to bumping it every time I do a turn. The fix to that is to reach down under here and do it, but for a lot of people, that is not the way they drive. You have to let go of the steering wheel to do that. Not good. All right. Now for the steering wheel itself, I prefer a meaty steering wheel in a pickup truck. I like a big, heavy steering wheel. This one's not that big, not that heavy. It's more like what you would see in a crossover. It's fairly small in diameter, and it's not, look how I grip it. My hand, I can make a big fist around it. I really want to be able to hold it and not feel, just have it feel more substantial. That's a personal preference. A lot of people are probably the other way. I don't blame one way or the other, but my big meat hook man hands really want a big beefy steering wheel in a pickup truck. All right, so over here you have your cruise control stuff and steering wheel heat. So cruise control is pretty simple. Turn it on here, turn it off here. Push this up or down to set or resume or increase, decrease speeds. You can increase by single increments by just thumbing this up a little bit. You can also push it really hard and hold for a second, and it will go in 5 mile per hour limit, 5 mile per hour increments. Over here is the distance. So this sets your follow distance for the adaptive cruise. I will say that this GMC here is very aggressive. So it does not slow down until you're right up on somebody at that distance. And frankly, even at the widest distance, it takes a while for this thing to decide to slow down. It's a little annoying. On this side of the wheel, we've got your telematics, right? Telephone, voice controls. The voice controls on this infotainment are actually really good. They tend to do pretty well for basic things, take a little more effort for the more convoluted things, but for just doing things like changing the channel and stuff, this is a quick way to do it. Also a quick way to make phone calls. That's what I've used it for the most. This right here controls infotainment as well as that. Most of the time you're controlling that, so you can see in the tiny amount of time I've been driving, this has been my fuel economy. This has the 6.2, by the way, 6.2 V8. So you can flip through some other things up there. There's a lot of things to look at. Really informative information to screen for the driver. Now, for another complaint. Sorry, GM, but these are my legitimate complaints. This is the shifter. I like this shifter. Feels good. It's easy to grab. You pull it, you put it down into gear, everything is good except, look at that. When you're driving along, this goes like this the whole time you're driving. It sits there wiggling. Really disconcerting. It doesn't feel as solid as it should. Otherwise, great shifter. Don't really use this very much. You might if you're using, say, low gear to go down hills, things like that. But that's the only time I've really ever used it. Otherwise, I let the transmission do its own thing. I like the way this feels. It's easy to grab. It's a good position. I just wish it didn't wobble so much. Now, let's look at this instrument cluster. Look at that. It's really pretty. I like it too. It's very, very visible. GM did a very good job with it, with the design for this right here. So over here you have your tachometer. Over there, where's my finger? Over there's a speedometer. This is a driver information display. You can change just about everything down in here. These gauges up here can be changed, but you can't, as far as I know, you cannot do it from the steering wheel controls. You have to do it over on the infotainment. But this gives you a lot of information. This truck runs on low oil pressure. The 6.2 is a pretty advanced engine. So for those of you who think that a V8 should always have 60 plus PSI on the oil pressure, you might want to look up the information on this engine, because it does not require that. It's very well done. Over there shows your drive mode. So you can see right now I have it 4-wheel auto. If I grab it to 2-wheel, it looks like that. So it's a pretty straightforward. That just gives you an idea where you are. Over here, if I was on a street that had a speed limit that the GPS had programmed or could pick up, it would show right there. Kind of useful, not terribly. This up here is there's the cruise control showing you that it's on, and you can see the park brake is on. So pretty straight, pretty cool. Maybe you can see right there the head-up display. You can change things on that. You control it right there. So that's the brightness right there. Here's the info it's showing. There aren't very many options. It's mostly your safety systems, a compass, or 4-wheel drive information. Most of the time I've just left it on the plain old, here's your speed, and then when you set cruises, it shows that stuff in there. And then this raises and lowers it, so it's a really quick way to just move it up and down. I also noticed that this stays with the seat program. So when you program the seat for a tall person and they have it down low, it moves there. And when you, where is it? I can just make it out. No, it's not on the screen. It's hard to capture that kind of thing on a camera. Anyway, what I was saying about the seat settings is when the settings change because it's a shorter person, so you push, like, say, seat setting number 2 moves the seat up and maybe down a little bit or whatever. The head up also moves for that position, so it's saved with all of that info. That's really cool. I had yet to see that in any of the vehicles that have one, so it was really cool to see that in the HUD. Now, those, by the way, the complaints that I've given, those are all of my complaints with this truck. I have no other complaints with this here pickup truck. This here pickup truck. So, we'll move on to the infotainment. Down there's how you start it, right? You're going to want to know that. Oh, anyway, here's the infotainment. This is the full suite. So the Denali package comes with this size screen plus all of the goodies that are included. And you can get a subscription for a Wi-Fi hotspot, which I highly recommend in GM vehicles because it's really good, really, really useful. The only one that I've seen that's comparable that's just as good is probably what's on Chrysler's Uconnect. So you'll find that in Ram trucks and Jeep, so forth. Really useful stuff. There's a lot of good stuff here, and the screens work really quickly, so you can flip through and do things really fast. I do not recommend using Android Auto. I haven't tried CarPlay because I don't have an Apple product. Android Auto in here is a little pushy. It tends to pop up a lot of things. Don't really like that. And most everything you're going to need is already here. You don't really need to use that. I will show you a couple of other bonuses too that I like about this truck. Just because, you know, it's the newest model, so they're moving to the newer things. But there's a lot of things you can do in here. Vehicle settings you're going to want to know about. So you can go in here. Excuse me. You can do a few things in the system. You can move over to the apps and move over to the vehicle. In here you can change a lot of things. You can turn the rear seat reminder on and off. You can change a few other things, comfort, convenience, lighting, etc. I like this. It's all centralized, easy to use. Kudos to GM for really putting everything into simple, understandable menus. Good job on that. Down here we have your hard button quick controls. So this is the volume, obviously. This is your selection or tuning, and then you push that to select. So if you're going through like Sirius XM stations, you would have to push to select whatever station you're looking at. These are do the same thing, but tracks and or moving stations. Then you have your home button, so that takes you back to this home screen. There, you might want to actually look at that, right? I mean, if I'm going to point at it, you should look at it, right? And then the back button here, hard back button. You also have a soft back button up in the left corner most of the time, but this one will do the job as well. Down here is climate controls. Pretty straightforward. I have everything turned off, but you just hit this to turn on the auto. You hit this to turn everything off. Everything else fairly self-explanatory. This is dual zone climate, so you have hang loose. So you have the left and the right working together. Down here, seat heating. So you got bun warming and seat heating. Here you got seat back heating only. Here you got a fan. Same over there. Down here, this is the lane keeping assist. It vibrates the seat because this is a GM product. I kind of like that. It's intuitive. It makes you feel like you're running over a rumble strip, so you know that it's happening. I normally turn these off because I tend to swing very wide when I'm going around, say, a semi-truck or something on the freeway, but it's easy to toggle it on and off right there. Same with the parking sensors. Toggle it on and off there. Auto stop start toggles on and off right there. This opens the tailgate. Pretty cool. Here's your Duke's lights. Here's your traction control. This turns on the 120 volt power outlets. So they're on, they're off, right? Green light. That outlet is right there. You can also get one in the bed. Over here is the hill descent control. Over here is the, what's the words for those? Side steps, I think is the word they like to use now. The running boards. This deploys them, and then also, so you can deploy them, normally they open when the doors open, but you can deploy them out with this without opening the door, or you can deploy them into their second position, which pushes them back and out so that you can use them as a bed step to get into the front end of the pickup truck bed. Integrated trailer brake control comes with the towing kit on this truck. Over here, USBs. You see it has a USB-C? Heck yeah, because I have a USB-C phone, and this is the first time I've been in a car that has one of these. That's awesome. And here's your 12-volt cigarette lighter style plug. This has wireless charging right here, so you drop your phone right there, it starts charging on the wireless pad. This is a good spot for dropping other things. I've actually been putting my phone here because when it's here, I can't see the screen a lot because reflection. So I just set it here so it's standing up more, then I can see what's on the screen. Most of the time, it really doesn't matter. You can lay it either place, and it doesn't really matter because you shouldn't be looking at your phone while you're driving. Am I right? Of course I am. I'm the guy doing the video. Over here, first of the cup holders. I almost said truck holders. First of the cup holders. Pretty good size. They're substantial. They hold things well. I like this design. It's good. You can also just shove random things that aren't necessarily cups in this space. It'll also hold a standard, like a 12-ounce water bottle and stuff. So pretty cool setup right there. I like that design. Here you can drop another phone. This is usually where the passenger would probably put their phone, but this is a good spot for another phone. And big storage bin, more USBs, ding, and the aux port if you happen to be looking for that. There's also a gap right here, so you can have cords coming out if you need to. Over here is file holder hangers, and that's the little light to light the whole thing up. The bottom comes out a piece of rubber. There you go. Now you notice this design of that one. So here's more drink holder, right? But you can also set a tablet across here. How cool is that? Yeah, brainy folks over there thinking about this stuff. This is your proper European glove box. This is your proper American glove box. So actual gloves go in there. Everything else you own goes in there. That's how we roll. Over there is some mahogany inlay. Up here is just pretty. I like all of this. I don't believe this is real leather. I'd have to look at the sheet, and I'll write that down here. It'll say yes, no, real leather. But anyway, I don't think it is. Back seats. This is the crew cab, full crew cab. Those over there open up to have little hidey hole cubbies. The bottoms lift up. That side right there is mostly taken up by the jack, which is a proper piston jack, not a screw jack, I will note. And under here, outside of the rods that you use to lower the spare tire, there is a bunch of empty bin, and then there's space under the seat you can see right there. And that folds down to make a drink holders and whatnot. The rear window slides open with a button that is, I'm just going to make you guys sick flipping this camera around up here. So you can see a few other things. And then also this has Chevy's, look, hi. So that's the actual, there you go, boom, rear view. I really like that. Highly useful, more useful than you would think. It's pretty amazing. So all you do is you just flip the thing like you're looking to do the, what's the word for that? You know, when somebody's coming up on you and they got bright lights. Yeah, it deflects it. There's a word for it. I'll remember what it is and I'll put it down here. So that's all I got. That right there is the 2019, got to make sure I get that right, 2019 GMC Sierra in the Denali package. This would be the 1500, the half ton. So I'm going to quickly show you the tailgate and then I'm going to sign off. All right. Before we get to that tailgate, I wanted to show you this. This is the step that it creates to go up here. You toggle it by kicking the side of it. Pretty cool stuff. Now for the tailgate on this. So this is the GMC Denali again. Over here, you see they still have the integrated bumper steps. Really cool. Standard on every Chevy and GM pickup truck I've ever seen. So right here, you see there's two buttons. So if I push the bottom button, it opens the entire tailgate normally, just like you would expect. If I grab this and lift, I now have a bed stop. So I've got a bunch of stuff loaded in there, got a strap going across the top of it. Here's a bed stop to keep it from coming this way. Smart. Now, if I reach under and I hit the other button, that drops down, right? So that center section right there just dropped down. Now, I just eliminated about a third of the tailgate, meaning I can reach much further in there than I could before. Plus, when I do this, I now have a bed step to climb in. These can be optioned to have speakers in them. So you can do actual tailgating, right? Hardcore tailgating. And then up here is a handle for the fogies to be able to grab onto and get in and out. Really smart thinking. And everything stows just like that. Easy and quick. So, thanks for watching. This has been Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com. Talk to you again soon.